Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Oh, hell yeah. Welcome to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. I'm going to get right after it, okay? Because, I mean, there's been so much going on since... By the way, we're back. Hi, happy Thanksgiving. How are you? Everybody had a good Thanksgiving or whatnot? I mean, we're so excited to get after it. I mean, yeah, I'm wearing Miami Dolphins gear, but I mean, I'm wearing my pajamas right now. It's like, this is a professional podcast, goddammit. So, yeah, we're back. It's been, 3 weeks now? So much has happened. I mean, the climate has changed in the NFL. We just went through conference championship Saturday yesterday, which was magical, which was amazing, which was an affirmation of, big dog's going to eat. Simple as that. All the big dogs ate, and ate big, including our boy Jimmy Harbaugh.
Yeah, good story there.
Yeah, good story there. All right, well, seated across from me, waiting to get after it, because, I mean, he literally, 5 seconds before the camera came on, he's like, all right, turn this camera on, let's get after this shit.
Look, the Maz is all fired up today.
Let's go. We got lots to talk about.
We gave him 3 weeks of high school girls volleyball, and now he's
ready for some stuff with some testosterone.
With some boy stuff. We got boy talk.
I was your lifeline. Go ahead, tell everybody.
I was your lifeline to masculinity, to the rest of the world.
Well, I never really lose it completely. I just put it away for a little while.
That was the only person you could jibber jabber to.
And then take it back out.
Seated next to him, matriculating on your device from left to right, and wow, the camera's got you like all skewed and screwed. You are a skinny dude. You are not that wide. You're working with Gonzo Sports Desk with. I'm gonna fix your feed, but say hi to the nice people, Johnny the Autobahn.
Good to be back. It's good to be back. 2 weeks off. It's nice to be here. Let's get into this.
You're like, I love my wife and kids, but
yeah, a little bit of a break. 3 kids and a wife, boy.
Daddy needs some
away.
man time. Yeah. Well, for those of you that noticed the
opening photo, that would be the late great Jake Scott, the original Miami Dolphins 13. Which, by the way, is pissing me off because I'm trying to get that throwback jersey, of course, in a 3XLT. And they're like, you mean Dan Marino? No, I mean Jake Scott. Who's that? Let me talk to your supervisor. Let me talk to somebody over 40. So Jim Harbaugh, before we get to everything, because we got kick rocks, we got all kinds of betting lines and props and stuff like that. But I'm being an asshole host, and I'm stepping in and going, no, I want to talk about my thing, Jim Harbaugh.
What do you do?
There's like a 157% chance that he goes to the Las Vegas Raiders if he goes to the pros. It's just literally, oh yeah, you can say you interviewed for this one and you interviewed for that one. Come on, Carolina Panthers versus Las Vegas Raiders. Okay, really? You had to think about that. I mean, even the Chicago Bears, which would be perfect for him. That's full circle. It's where he started in the pros. Vegas. Why? Because stepdad gangsta. Or gangster stepdad. Yeah, I got a gangster stepdad. I mean, because he wears those khakis, and he's always nice, and he's always very sweet, but he's always got that look in his eye, but I know some shit. I've seen some shit. So,
this is what's interesting is that obviously they won without him on the sidelines, the big cheating scandal. They pretty much put it in everybody's face. They put that whole scandal on their back. Obviously, and they've played really well. They won a big game yesterday. Outside of the scandal, I don't think that, let's go back a few months. I mean, he never gets caught, whatever the case is. Michigan keeps rolling. He's the king of Ohio now, beating Ohio State. I mean, all these different things. It seems like, why would he ever want to leave?
The invading king of Ohio, the conqueror of Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, why would he want to leave that environment and go to the pros where you have so much less control?
That's what I'm saying.
But now, and based upon some recent events, if you looked at some of the videos from last night's from the acceptance, after the game was over. He
Go on,
wouldn't
tell
even,
tell everybody what happened, because I looked at the TV when it
Joe
happened. I was like,
Platt was the one doing the analysis, the breakdown of the game.
who got booed?
They're on the podium. Some of the players are down there on the field. He announces the Big Ten commissioner to come bring the trophy. The guy gets just a rousing ovation of boos. He doesn't even get an acknowledgement from Harbaugh. And basically, Scott asks Harbaugh a question. Harbaugh gives him a one-word answer, turns his back, hugs his players, and they do their thing and walk off the stage. Never takes the trophy. So my point is this, is that in the coming light of what's been going on in that landscaping, and especially in college football, which is not a good work environment, I feel as though like you got a chance to have him maybe going back into the pros. So listen, he's going to be good no matter where he goes. So that's not a question. It's just a matter of, he's going to decide on what's best for him. And especially if he wins the whole thing now and walks away on top and gives him the big FU, what do you think? He's out. See ya.
I don't watch college football like that. I think everybody that watches this podcast knows that. But I will say, after watching that video just 10 minutes ago or so, that is some of the most gangster stuff I've ever seen
stepdad
by a coach ever. And I got to
Recognize
say,
them khakis.
I really like somebody that stands in their convictions, even on the big stage in front of everybody like that, and just says, this is how I really feel about you, and we're not going to be fake. And I got to appreciate that. As far as where he's going or this, that, and the third, I have no idea. But I got to tell you, man, that was the biggest FU I've seen on national TV to a commissioner, I think, ever.
Now, I'm not condoning the behavior. I'm not behind the whole cheating thing. You know how I feel about the Astros. We've talked to that, ad nauseum. I just can't stand those pigs. And again, not really getting into exactly what happened here. I know the peripherals. I have the ideas and stuff. They went to great lengths to do what they did, to gain the advantage, okay? And they got the advantage, and based on the advantage...
Wait. Great lengths
to get the advantage. What, they told one guy, hey, go look at some games. Okay, I mean, this is a staffer. He's already getting a paycheck. Okay, so he's a staffer. Okay, this, what was the name? Whatever his name was.
This is what you're being told.
Right.
But you don't think that there was more behind
Sure.
the scenes. But this was
He got an envelope. He's going to go to whatever town that is. He's going to go to the local titty bar after the ball game. I mean, come on.
If this wasn't Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, if it was another coach from the Citadel, I mean, granted, it still has to carry some
You think
value.
a Marine would do something like that?
All right, bad example. But my point is that a little lesser known school with a little lesser known name, who they may even be intimidated by clearly because they kind of knew Jim was going to fight. He wasn't just going to sit there and go, okay. So
Gangsta stepdad.
without any real legislation through the NCAA in football, and there's no governing body, really, I mean, he's just like, who are you? I have more power than you, and you have a title. You're the commissioner
of the conference.
The crease on these dickies will cut a bitch. Okay, the crease on these dickies will cut a bitch.
So it's like, Jimmy's like, F you, everybody, I'm out.
How many games ago was this? Did this start? 3 games? 4 games now? How many games have they been under this scandal?
It's like the beginning of the season they started with this shit.
And you know what? I'm sure it wasn't just this year. I'm sure they had some other stuff, but
Way to keep your team together
through the investigation.
during all this, to be honest with you. Way to coach through all this.
Organization, right?
Yes, that is impressive.
Yeah, because
Let me tell you, and I do say that he's 100, like I said, 157%. If he even looks towards the NFL, he's going to play for the Raiders. Okay, because what he did last night, that was Al Davis, Pete Rozelle shit. Okay, that was Al Davis Tagliabue shit. Okay,
Here, Pete, come sign this.
Yeah. Here, come sign this.
Yeah,
okay, so yeah, he would definitely go to the Raiders. He would definitely restore the Raider way. Okay, because he's that Al Davis kind of dude, where it's I'm going to do things my way. Okay. Believe me, remember all the past 6, 8, 10 years now where we've been getting teased with, Harbaugh might come to Miami because he's tight with Stephen Ross. Okay, don't tease me with that no more because he's too much for Stephen Ross.
Yeah.
Okay, Stephen Ross got to look at what he was doing in Michigan. He said, oh, no, that guy's not coming in, getting into my front office and just doing everything. I've got my stuff set up. It was a fucking failure. But anyway,
all right, well, let's just take Roger
real
real quick.
Let's move on to the regularly scheduled stuff.
How about we fire Goodell and we bring Jim Harbaugh as a commissioner of the NFL?
Oh, my God.
Can you imagine that gangster
Great.
shit right there?
Well,
That'd be legit right there.
and then guess what? The quarterback's going to be even more protected.
Yeah.
But no. But listen, why would he leave Michigan? He's finally got the program the way he wanted. It's been 5 long years. Okay, he's crushing Ohio State every year, just like.
Yeah.
Now it's Ohio State wondering when's the next time
And
they're going to
that's
beat Michigan.
bigger than the national championship for them. So,
Yeah.
as long as
It's-
Ohio State, they're usually in the top 10 both teams anyway, but when one beats
The other, that's all that matters for those two schools, honestly.
That has NFL implications. That has draft day in April implications. That game, okay. Very few other games. Okay, maybe like what we also saw another classic between Georgia and Alabama.
They're
Okay,
discussion.
that has NFL implications.
There's 3 or 4 college games
Right.
a year that matter.
Right.
That again, the rest doesn't matter. But
I can't wait.
these-
I can't wait for that playoff.
Go to eight teams though.
Yeah.
All right. Before we digress,
Before we get even farther out to sea, because we really want to be wrapped up by 12. Do we want to get straight to kick rocks?
Let's
or no,
kick
wait.
them. I guess kick them.
You want to kick rocks?
First question I
Or
got for you.
Was what first the question is it rock solid, okay, or does it kick rocks? I got this fantastic high quality graphics I have to use to show.
Is that
They're
from
beautiful.
Charlie Brown when Lucy's
He's holding the ball, and then he goes and
There's no other silhouette
I
there.
thought I saw
That
There's
shit's
no
real
Lucy.
Universal Studios.
Oh, wait.
That's real
This you know what this is? This is a wide receiver in the 1930s that remember because they used to throw the ball about 8 times a game back in the 1930s, and he was pissed off at the ball because he dropped it. Okay,
It looks like he's
Looks like a
wearing
logo from the 30s.
It looks like he's wearing a like a World War II German helmet. Almost, it looks from that angle.
well, in the 20s and 30s, in the 20s and 30s, they had fucked up.
I am
uniforms.
Schultz. Nine. All right. So anyway, I got the MVP of the league this year. All right. Since we're talking kick
We're
rocks,
just gonna go right there.
let's do it. We got
Okay.
graphics. We're going now. I'm going to throw you some numbers, and then you can tell me who the quarterback is.
Okay.
So this is going back from week
Dan Marino.
7 of this year. Okay. So from week 7 on, because remember, there's a lot of recency bias. I feel when these awards are handed down, nobody thinks about the first 6 weeks, right? I mean, guys get off to hot starts, but it's how you finish. So right now, this guy, okay, that I'm going to throw out there is, and since week 7, first in yards per game, 380 yards per game. Second yards per attempt, almost 10 yards per attempt. First in touchdowns, and first in QB rating, 130.
So last 5 games.
Since week 7. So yeah, last 5 games.
Okay.
Yeah, last 5 games. To me, and currently, this guy's 5th overall in terms of percentages from Vegas and who is going to actually win the NL MVP. Now, we've banged on this award before. I'm not an award guy like this. I don't think it matters ultimately. It is somewhat of a popularity contest. It usually does go to the quarterback. So there are some built-in advantages or disadvantages in this award. Okay, so again, it's not something that I put a lot of weight in, but it's something we can discuss. And I feel at this point, going back to the stats and stuff like that, that this is my guy. It's Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott right now
Believe it.
is playing at a level at which, if you listen to Jerry Jones, his guy, is at the MVP level. All right? There's not even a discussion. Now, I know you're going to say, well, the teams they face and whatever and whatever.
No. Okay,
Well, listen, if you think I'm going to interrupt you with that, no. Let me tell you some relevant facts about Dak Prescott. About a month ago, okay, I'm that dickhead that scans the waiver wire every day. I wake up in the morning and I scan the waiver wire every day in fantasy football in every league I'm in, okay? And some fool thought he was just going to put Dak Prescott on the wire and float him and then get him back. Okay, because I mean they had good. I think it was.
It was probably a tough matchup, and he had needed.
Well, that
defense.
is no, and the guy had the guy had. I think it was either I forget. Patrick Mahomes, I guess, was the starting quarterback. So and he had matchups and he had bye day problems, and he said that. Oh, go ahead, I'll come pick you up. No, he wasn't there when he got back. I'm that dickhead.
You can't drop a starting quarterback.
Not around
to
me.
pick
You
up
can't.
a guy who's projected to get 8 points at the running back position for your flex that week.
Three starts.
Yeah, that's bad.
Three
planning.
starts.
Whoever did that,
3 in a row.
put him in my
My
league every
boy.
year.
Dak is my boy. Whatever you say about Dak for MVP,
Yeah.
go for it.
He's
I
there.
love you, Tua. I love you, QB1. Hope you win MVP. I hope you run all the way through to the Super Bowl and crush everybody. But guess what? Right now, it's Dak.
Well, here are
It's
some of the
Dak's
guys
fault.
ahead
Ahead of him, according to Vegas. You got Mahomes right now, who's
Of
plus
course.
400.
Of
Again,
course.
namesake, he's going to be there. But who are you taking as the MVP right now based on play? Is it Mahomes or is it Prescott? To me, it's not close.
No twitchy fingers.
Who else is out there? Lamar Jackson. Again, guy that can lead his team to victory. His numbers aren't that great, but he's a dual threat. We all know the story. But right now, based on play, is it
Number
Lamar or is it Dak Prescott? One more. Tua. Tua's been playing very well. He's just as consistent. He's at plus 1,000. Okay.
Okay.
Dak, they got him at plus 800. So those guys are pretty close. One of your long shots you mentioned, McCaffrey, plus 2,000. Now, I mentioned it's tough to give it to a running back. I don't
Deserves
know
it.
the way he's playing, he is like 60 or 70 fantasy points ahead of the next ranked running back. So the difference between him and, let's say, the 12, which is, again, everybody's got one on their team, it's insurmountable. McCaffrey's a league winner this year if you have him. So
Can you name San Francisco's backup running back? Who is their backup running back? Eli Mitchell?
Yeah.
Is he literally, what's he got, like 4 touches a game? Yeah. 9-win teams right now do not have Eli Mitchell in the backfield.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, Johnny, my MVP right now is Dak Prescott in the league. Okay, I can see by your
He wants some.
I'm
He
waiting.
wants some.
I was
Go
waiting.
ahead.
He wants some.
I was waiting for your response, and I think
And screw my neighbors. You can get as loud as you want. My neighbors are loud. You Canadians cannot be quiet.
Johnny, what do you got, buddy?
You guys watch college football, obviously, right? So when you see FSU versus Colgate Christian Academy, and you see a 50-point spread on there, right? But you never see that if they're versing a UM or a Wisconsin. Why? Because
Oklahoma
it does matter who
Panhandle
you're
Tech.
playing. It absolutely does matter who you're playing. And I want to know in those 5 games, who are their opponents? Exactly right. Because if Colgate Christian versus UM every single game, they'd be 12-0 every single year. But they aren't, because the competition matters. Okay? When you're beating the Giants, okay, and you're beating the Washington Commanders, and you're beating teams that are down and out already, and then what did he have? One good game against Philly, I think, where he did, against a good defense, put up numbers.
Yeah, Philly's secondary is pretty suspect.
And there you go.
Yeah,
So
they're
even
pretty
the
suspect.
worst part of their game is what Dak is going against. You can't be hitting me with this whole, well, if we verse the Giants 17 times in a row, it doesn't, like, of course it matters. It matters. Don't sit here and be like, I know you're going to say, yeah, damn right I'm going to say.
Who are you
it.
guys playing next week? Oh, the Giants.
Okay, now, with that being
Start 'em.
said, I'm not bashing Dak Prescott. I do believe he is a very good quarterback, and I do believe that he can win you a lot of games. But we are talking about the best player in the NFL. We are not talking about a good guy. We're talking about the best.
All right.
Okay?
Fair.
And in my opinion, I hate this quarterback nonsense. It has to be a quarterback. My belief is a quarterback does win it this year. I also believe that if it was fair, it would be Christian McCaffrey. Because
day.
without McCaffrey, that entire offense just stops.
All day.
So, at the end of the day, yes, it matters who you're playing. And no, I don't believe a quarterback this year should win it. Every single one of those guys you can pick apart. Every one of those guys you can make an argument with. You cannot make an argument against a guy that is leading the league in the NFL in rushing, and I believe missed a game or 2 on top of it. And when he's out, they don't win.
All right, here's my argument about the running back position and why it may not win as much as it should.
Okay.
Okay, when you
He,
look
he
at
came prepared for
When-
a,
I like
it.
a
Let's
volley.
do it.
Here we
when
go.
you
Mr. McCaffrey.
when you look at running backs coming into the league, how come so many first-year guys are successful at the position? Because it's the easiest position on the field. The quarterback is the toughest position on the field. So when you say you can pick apart quarterbacks, yeah, when you got to do 10 things right, there are going to be some things that are going to fall by the wayside. Maybe it's completion percentage. Maybe it's third down percentage. Whatever it may be that you're using these metrics to gauge the overall success of the position. But when you have first-year guys coming in the league and it takes a tight end 2 or 3 to get into the system, or wide receivers that pop in year 3, you hear it all the time. Quarterbacks are the same thing. So the reason why probably, in my opinion now, thinking about it, the MVP goes to the quarterback is because it is literally the most important position of all in all of sports. In all of sports, it's the quarterback for a reason, because he makes the decisions, he leads the team, he's responsible for the overall offensive output of the team. Because without a guy handing the ball off or throwing the football, there's no game.
What if a wide receiver or a running back makes your decisions that much easier because he's on the field? Let's take
And they
the
do.
Lions for an example. Not this year, but when they had Megatron.
Right.
Do you really believe that Stafford was more of an MVP than Megatron? No, it's easy when you can go, oh, he's triple covered, who cares? Whoop, and you
Right.
can have a guy just go up there and get it. When Tyreek Hill gets 5 yards of separation, well, yeah, it makes your quarterbacking much easier. So,
But at some point, that is what you're trying to do. You're again, then back it up to the coaches. Maybe the coach is the one who developed the game plan that created that separation. You can always create a chain of success and put that label or responsibility to a person. The coach, the player, the quarterback, the this, the that. It's everybody involved. And it all has to work in order for it to come out to be successful. So I like Christian McCaffrey, and I agree with everything you're saying. I'm just saying that right now, when you look about talent and Dak's talent, I can argue the fact that they don't run the ball well. Their offensive line isn't as good as it's been in the last couple of years. They have one really primary threat, which has been CeeDee Lamb. And they got a rookie tight end in Jake Ferguson, or a second-year guy in Jake Ferguson that's just now coming on. So he doesn't have the type of weapons that a Tyreek Hill, the fastest guy in the world outside of Metcalf, which we'll briefly get to him, and then other guys like that. So you can always pick and touch and pull it and create a narrative and whatever. My MVP right now is Dak Prescott. And I'd like to see it continue against some of the more difficult teams. And then see how they end up towards the end of the year, because that's what's going to matter.
If I had to pick a quarterback and we take all other players out of this, then I would take Hurts number one, because I think his level of difficulty on schedule is far greater than Dak's. Even though they're in the same division, all those other games, man, they seem to find ways to win, man. And I think that he is a big part of that. And then next, I would probably right now, based off of the last 5 games, would have to put Dak second. I won't take Mahomes and I won't take Lamar over Dak right now, not based off of these 5 games that we've seen. And I think Stroud's just not going to have a chance just because he's a rookie, man. They never give it to a rookie, really. So
and Hurts will have the advantage because they'll end up with a better record. They'll win the division and probably have a home game or two and probably get further into the playoffs. And by that point, I think those decisions are made. So,
well, I was about to jump in here because I'm a LaDainian Tomlinson fan. Okay,
There's
even though
another
he played
example.
for the stinking Jets
There's
for a little
another
while. I'm a big fan of his and through fantasy football, because I had him 3 out of the 4 years, including in 2006 when he won the MVP. Okay, which is one of the rare times that So I jump on the MVP list. I'm like, all right, I know that LT had one in 2006. When's the last running back that won the MVP in the NFL? And it turns out that it wasn't LaDainian. I was ready to spit it out, but I had to check.
Was it Jamal Lewis from Baltimore when he had the 2,000-yard season?
Wrong. And you, John? Come on, take a shot.
the last time somebody won?
A non-quarterback won
I
the
just saw this the other
MVP.
day.
Randy
Hold on.
Moss.
No.
It was that?
Yeah, and I don't see Randy Moss's
No.
name on this.
And okay, so Randy Moss never won MVP. Randy Moss.
I
Because
see
the
Rich
original.
Gannon on this, but I don't
Thank
see
you,
Randy
bro.
Moss.
No way, bro. That's what I'm saying. This thing is ridiculous, bro.
All right.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Damn.
What's the last time?
The other day.
2012.
CJ2K?
No. Chris ain't on this list.
2,000-yard rusher.
No, Tennessee.
Nope.
No, was it Chris Johnson?
No,
Yeah,
it's
that was
Chris
Chris
Johnson.
Oh, okay.
I love doing this shit. You know that, right? It's Adrian Peterson.
Oh, come on. How we miss that, bro? Turn the show off.
Listen, and I don't wear any other jersey besides the Miami Dolphins, Miami Hurricanes, or I do have a Pitt Panthers Dan Marino jersey. Okay, from back in the day. Okay, but I do wear a LaDainian Tomlinson jersey. I had the powder blue 21. I have one. It's the most ridiculous damn thing you've ever seen in your life. I do want an Emmitt Smith, blue Emmitt Smith with the silver letters for the Cowboys. I want one of those because, and that's because of my appreciation fantasy football wise for these guys. Because I also had Emmitt for like 4 out of 5 years one time. I just went Emmitt. I had him when he was out for a year with a knee injury. I had him when he played with a broken thumb and got 160 yards on
That's
Monday
when we
Night
were
Football.
pulling our stats off the
Yeah.
back of the Sun.
Yeah,
Sentinel
exactly.
newspaper on Monday
USA
morning.
Today.
Turn it over,
USA
baby.
Today.
I don't know nothing about that part of fantasy.
Football Index.
Yes.
If Russ was here, Roscoe, if the Guru's Guru was here,
All right,
he'd be howling about that. Okay, so
Next kick, Ross.
next. Oh, there's more.
We got one more. We got to go 2. This is going to be quick and simple because I know you guys are going to agree
We're
with me.
going to try to get done by the time kickoff happens.
Belichick
is going to ride off into
to
the
the sunset next year.
Bye.
As far as retiring or out of the Patriots?
It's over.
Bye.
Guys. Well, first of all the talk is, well,
He's not going anywhere.
No.
Let me give you his. By the way, the Patriots had 11 draft picks this last year. Okay, in the
Right.
draft, and the knock has been on since Brady left. Is it can?
By the way,
Belichick-
I already have my comparison in the clip ready to squeeze. Okay,
Yeah.
so you just go ahead and lay it out there because I already got my guy. I already got my guy ready to throw at you. Go ahead.
Where are the weapons in New England? Where have they ever been? Has it been, Brady just making it all happen? We've had these discussions before, but let me give you last year's draft class for the New England Patriots. Okay,
Okie
3 guards. One of them is playing. He's ranked 41st at the position by Pro Football Focus. The other 2,
drives for lift.
1 practice squad, 1 cut. Okay, they
He
did get
drives for lift.
They did get a wide receiver in the draft this year. He has 3 total catches on the year. They drafted 2 cornerbacks, 1 hurt, 1 cut. They drafted a DB who is on the practice squad, a defensive tackle on the bench.
They drafted a kicker, didn't they?
I don't have it. Doesn't matter. So the point is that they are a mess, and they've been a mess for a while. They didn't get the quarterback right. They're not drafting the supplemental positions right. I think the time has come. Who wants at this point, other than namesake, unless he's got connections, I'm sure he does, friends in the NFL on the owner's level where he's going to go get a job.
Have connections.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, but in terms of enough to bring him over to coach a franchise, not every team needs a coach. Now, there'll be 7 or 8 teams that are looking for coaches. That's the normal NFL, turnover each year. But again, the teams he's being associated with, we heard the Raiders a little bit. I've also heard, what was it? Maybe the not the Giants.
Chargers.
The Chargers was one team, but there's another sleepy team that I heard. Either way, my point is that
Not the Bears?
at some point, I think it's just time to rest on your laurels, know that your run is probably over, and let's just bow our heads, tip our cats, and say thanks, thanks, Bill. Move on. See you later, buddy. It's time to go.
I'll use a boxing analogy of what he possibly could be doing. Roy Jones is one of my favorite boxers of all time. And after he lost his first fight, he continued to keep fighting and lost like 8 of his last 9. And in some way, it ruins your legacy to keep going and losing than to just call it quits while you should.
Keep chasing Shula. Go ahead. Keep doing
I
that.
think that he could possibly be doing this because these last 3 years has already proven that we went from this guy's the greatest coach, no arguments ever, to like, whoa, wait a minute, in just 3 short seasons. If he does this again and goes to the Chargers and ends up being 6-11, I mean, this will be 3 different instances of 3 different teams of him being a head coach without Brady and not doing squat. It will just reaffirm what we are saying about him. I believe you, Matt, that he should walk away, but you said it the last time we were on the podcast. These people are narcissistic, man, and they believe that their system works no matter what their record is, and they'll keep on plowing. And I think Belichick wants to get that Don Shula record. I do not see him getting it, but I think that he wants to get it because then if you make that argument about, well, you haven't won with Brady, he can go, well, then how the hell did I get the most wins ever in history? And he'll have that. I think he ruins himself if he goes to the Chargers, the Raiders, or anybody else. I think that he has another losing season, and it just reaffirms what we've been saying the last 3 years, that he might just be an average coach, man.
I
He
feel
might
bad
just be that.
for Justin Herbert if he ends up at the Chargers. That'd be like his 17th coordinator, his 17th head coach. He's getting a defensive-minded coach now as opposed to some guy that can actually make them even better. And despite all that,
Who will make a special teams coach into the offensive coordinator?
and despite Andrew's disdain for Justin Herbert, the kid still can make every throw on the field, has the most passing yards of all time up to this point. I mean, despite every potential problem he's had, injuries on the offense, the receivers can't stay healthy. All right, so point is, please, Belichick, just go. Just thank you and move on. And that way we can go to the next segment.
My comparison, Vince Lombardi. Let us remember the legendary career of one Mr. Vince Lombardi. At the end of his tenure with Green Bay, it was literally he and the team all got old at the same time. Okay, and I believe that his final year was his only losing season, which he was 6-8, I think it was. I don't know. But all I know is in.
You don't remember?
I don't remember. I didn't look it up.
No, I thought you were at the game.
But
the
no.
last game.
I was 3. It's okay.
I
I was there with my little, my little Go Pack Go. Yeah, me in Lombardi Stadium at 3, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so he left and he took a big paying job with the Washington Redskins. That's what they were called in the 60s.
They may go back to that, apparently.
69 and
He
70.
should.
No, Wikipedia changed it to the Commanders. They did not. They did not. But they weren't the Washington.
It used to be the
Commanders
football
back
team,
then. Right. So Lombardi leaves after a long, long run, lots of championships. Okay, more championships than Belichick. Would they have like 10? Green Bay did. Green had like 10 championships, including the first 2 Super Bowls. That was the big transition from the old NFL to the new NFL. Was that the bastion of the old NFL won the first 2 Super Bowls convincingly, beat them up. Okay, and they played well for another 2 or 3 years, but Lombardi got old. Everybody got old. Bart Starr got old. What was it? who was their middle linebacker that was there for like 18 years. He got old. Okay, so they cycled out, and sometimes you cycle out. You cycle out. Go. Now I know you want to steal a couple of paychecks because coaches get paid a ridiculous amount of money. There's no salary cap for coaches.
He got money though. I don't think it's about money.
I don't think it's about money. This would definitely be about ego. Okay, quit chasing Shula. All right, quit. Now listen, you get a sweet gig. You have things however you're going. You're a grown man. You do what you want. You retire when you want. You do what you want. Your body of work says it for itself. You're going to the Hall of Fame. You're one of the goats. One of the goats. Stop chasing Shula, and then go Chicago, go Las Vegas, go wherever, and make your money and play a couple or coach a couple more years. But it's done. It's done. Stop chasing Shula. You're only going to tarnish your legacy. Okay, Washington under Lombardi, not a playoff team. Okay, and then unfortunately, he passed away way too soon of cancer in 1971, and they immediately named the Super Bowl trophy after him. Okay, that's a guy, once again, cycled out. I think this is the same situation here. He cycled out. And I'm sorry. It's just, okay, you've been killing it for 30 years as a defensive coordinator, as a head coach. Thanks.
Yeah, it's time to go.
Bye.
This would never happen, but if you took ego out of it and you just played it smart, this is what he should do. He's not going to.
Right.
He would go be a defensive coordinator for another team, and when people were asked,
Yeah.
why do you not coach anymore? He could say, listen, 30 years, man, I'm done. I love defense. I'm going to stay on the defensive side of the ball, and it doesn't
Right.
have to seem like a cop-out. It honestly could probably be, but he's not that eager, because then everybody's going to be like, oh, he was so bad he had to drop down.
No, you're doing a coordinator.
I think that he would still
For
be
the
a
love.
fantastic defensive coordinator
Right.
for somebody, but it's just that ego thing. He's not going to go from a head coach to a defensive coordinator after having the greatest dynasty in NFL history and then just being like, just go do defense.
You know when you could possibly see that? Okay, he retires from the NFL. He's off for a year
And misses it.
Does TV, loses his fucking mind, and then he goes and he's like the defensive coordinator for a Division III college team that is located like 25 minutes away from wherever his house is.
You got him doing TV when he
Okay.
has this.
I just was going to
10
say,
words
could
at a
you
podium?
imagine him on TV?
All
Clear
right,
eyes.
and
why are you
eyes.
going to make me defend Bill Belichick?
And now to Bill for sports.
Oh my God! Why are you going? Listen, why are you going to make me defend Bill Belichick? Okay, if you
We
have
did today.
you have never seen Bill Belichick open up and be funny. That guy is a friggin' Ryan.
No, I'm sure he's got
Okay.
personality,
But
but
he's got personality.
Not
he
that's
just
funny.
he doesn't want to share
Personality.
it with this thing right here. He doesn't want to share it with this
he's
thing.
going fishing.
Okay.
It's kind of like how we are. right
Sure.
now, so, all right.
But I'm telling you, he's going to go nuts.
Catching a big one
He's
out
going to go
there.
nuts. He's going to go bananas. He's going to go stir crazy, and he'll end up being the defensive coordinator for, like I said, for a Division III college that's a 20-minute commute from wherever his regular house is.
Sean Payton just did this, didn't he? He just retired. Now he's back with Denver. Oh, you miss it, man. You miss
Hopefully
the
it's got
thrill.
a bus route because he'll be too old to get behind and drive a car. I mean,
Hey, that's it. It's break time. We'll be
Him
back
and
with
Shaq on Icy Hot
we'll be
commercials.
back with picks right after this.
We live a pie on our day. We live a pie on our day.
Yes.
What in there?
We better get going. God knows what the team is doing with just Farmer Fran watching them.
Le homme de temps va me bouger en la vie, quoi va wrong, et réflexion va me bouger time.
Gonzo Radio.
Oh, it's getting real bad here. It's real bad. Welcome back to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. I had to cut things off there for a second. Sorry, I had to cut you guys off, but you know, we were going pretty hard with the Bill Belichick retirement old man jokes, and it got roasty there.
It was ageism. Is that the term?
Ageism,
yes.
yes.
Is that the term that's used for that?
Johnny,
You got to hit us
Hit him with
it.
it.
He's so old.
Listen, he's so old that they're about to change Ben Gay to Bill Gay, bro. I'm telling you right now, he's not gonna get to them games any other way than a bus or a helicopter. He's not doing it.
Yeah.
that would be defensive end Bill Gay from the Detroit Lions back in the late 70s, early 80s. Yeah, okay, yeah, Bill Gay, yes. Okay. So I'm so glad we did it. Really tasteless. I'm going to apologize, even though we got nothing on record to apologize for.
As he tells me to repeat it. Repeat it. Sorry. We
My phone here.
I feel like I should cancel
Sorry.
myself as the producer. I'm gonna go put out an apology tweet. I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure that I do better in the future. So now that we've done the politically correct thing and the touchy feely,
Barely. All right, here's some guys.
Here.
We're going to get to some games. We'll break down
Down some games, but here's some guys based on the injury reports that are in. These just broke, so I want to get
Just
them
broke.
out there.
Breaking news.
Treylon Burks, John's favorite team, Tennessee, is in today. That may help him. Hollywood Brown and McBride both in for the Arizona.
Yay!
Against my beloved Steelers today. Tank Dell is a go. So Houston, everybody's darling team there, they need a win. That was a tough loss for them last week. They're going to be basically just a wing and a prayer for a playoff spot now. Keenan Allen's going to play for the Chargers. So that's interesting. He's in there.
He actually is going to play?
They said he's going to play. Yeah, he's suiting up and playing.
Bro, who makes these reports? Just yesterday, all the reports said he's out officially and now he's playing. Like, who makes all this stuff up, man?
For New Orleans, Olave is also in. He's coming out of concussion protocol, and he'll be in today as well. So those are some of the big names. So, all right, we got some games to talk about. I got 3 or 4 big ones this week. We all know who they are, but I want to talk about the first game. When I saw the line, to me, you know, I like to use the eyeball test in my life. Like if I see something and immediately my eyes tell me that it's not right, and I get a reaction and a feeling in my body, I'm like, wait a second, something's got to be a little bit weird with that. So let's look into it.
Can you tell me how I can do that with women?
No, it's impossible. This is just for sports.
Damn it.
This is a sports trade. 4.5 point favor. Dogs. I'm sorry. The Saints are getting. Let's try over 4.5 points.
You
at
can't even
home.
wrap your brain
I know,
around
this
it.
got me so messed up. The Saints are getting 4.5 points at home against the Lions. Okay, now we talked about this a few weeks ago about how generically the home team used to get, let's say, 3 points in Vegas's eyes. That was a given. Okay, well they dropped that now. Different factors, variables, whatever. It's about 1.5 points. Okay, so you're the home team. When Vegas is crunching the numbers, you're plus 1.5 points, and then they work back from there. So basically what they're telling you here is that the Lions are a 6-point better team than the Saints. Now, we've talked about home road splits for Jared Goff and how obviously there is a pretty noticeable difference in performance. Much better at home than he is on the road. The Saints, 22-17 at home over the last 3 years. They usually hold serve there, and they have a good defense. Now, Saints are beat up on that side of the ball. I get it, but Olave's playing. Kamara's playing. Defense is fairly healthy. That's who they are. They can be beat underneath, I think, which, again, Detroit may try and exploit that today with passing it to the running back. That's something that I also like today as well. But my point is that when I looked at this and I saw that they were getting 4.5 points at home, it didn't sit well with me. So your thoughts on that?
I believe that part of the reason of this is the injuries that are on the offensive side of the ball for the Saints. They are missing Michael Thomas and they are missing Rashid. Those are two guys that, Michael Thomas from a couple of years ago, he's not the same guy, but is still a big weapon, and they don't have him. Now they're really down to throwing the ball to like Taysom Hill and God, I can't remember his name. The star running back they have, man. I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, Kamara.
He had 17 targets a couple of games ago.
But
why can't that happen today?
But this is the thing, though, man. The offensive line on Detroit is one of the best in the game. And I know that you're going to look at the Packers game last week and say, well, they lost against the Packers at home. There's reasons behind that. I won't get into conspiracy theories, but there's certain times There's certain times where there's no reason that a team should lose a game like that, and then all of a sudden you look at the money line and where all the money is going, and they end up losing that game. But we'll stick that to another day or something. But still,
Eagles, Dolphins.
Thank you. There's certain times you can just look it up and you can see it's like, really, guys, like, come on, But at the end of the day, fine. Also, things that you can look up that are real. In a dome, golf or whatever plays much better away when he's in a dome. He feels more comfortable. That's got to be part of the reason why they're 4.5 points. And also, I think they're just overall a better football team. I think they're going to pound the rock on these guys today. I mean, regardless of how good that defense is, that offensive line is unbelievable. So I just see that they're just an overall better team. And Vegas, sometimes I do this too. I'm like, how does that? And they win. Like, Vegas knows somehow. I don't know. So there's a reason for this. And I got Detroit covering the spread, and I'm putting money on that.
Yeah, talent is certainly on Detroit's side overall, roster. But I will say this: the Saints are 2-8-1 versus the spread this year, which to me tells me that Vegas has a hard time getting them right. So the numbers are being placed maybe in a particular way where, again, you're going against the Saints quite often. In this situation here, it seems like a lot of points at home. 4.5 at home. Again, the Saints do hold serve normally there. It's a tough place to play. It's loud. This game matters for the Saints, too.
Oh, I'll agree with that. Saint fans are out of their minds.
Yeah.
They're crazy.
Yeah,
but
there's a definite home field advantage there. That may not be just a 1.5 there at that particular place. So, again, I'm just not comfortable with it. I'm staying on the Saints side. I don't know if the Saints will win the game, but 4.5 points in today's NFL is just a lot of points for a home team. So, all right. And again, defensively, they're both close, 10th and 12th against total yards, respectively, for both teams. So, pretty balanced, at least on that side. So,
all right. Well, wait. Let me give you the reasons why the Detroit Lions are going to win this ball game. First of all, we're going to chew everybody's kneecaps off. That's the first thing. We're going to eat your knees.
Eat your knees, baby.
We're like you said, we're in a dome, so we're comfy. We're
I
used
didn't know
to a
Dan
dome.
Campbell called into the show. Hey, Dan.
And let me tell you something else. They are going to be a very pissed off football team.
Motivated as hell.
Very pissed. I don't care who's hurt. I don't care whatever. If they had their third string quarterback in, they are going to be a very pissed off football team. And by the way, that football team is built around both lines, both the offensive and the defensive line. Okay, they're both in pretty good health.
Yeah.
Both sides are bordering on elite. Okay, bordering on elite. So what you're going to see is a pissed off Detroit Lions team, and Dan Campbell is going to tell them, these guys are hungry too. These guys need it bad. How bad do you need it? Do you need it more than they need it? That's what it's all coming down to, is who needs it more. Do you need it? Do you need it more than the guy across from you? Okay, let's go get it done.
I'm ready. Are you?
Okay.
I feel like strapping a helmet on right now.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Remember, again, just one more thing on this game.
And this applies to all the lines, all the games. Remember I talked about last week about how when DraftKings, they do their algorithms and they give those little colors, the reds, the greens.
You got to need it.
When you look at the algorithms this week for players like Kamara, the quarterback position, they're red. Okay, for Detroit side. Amon St. Brown had like a red 4. So the wide receivers don't normally score well against the Saints. That's the strength of Detroit, although I do think Detroit is going to lean on Gibbs today a lot and Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless of that, a lot of those numbers, I didn't see any green numbers. So, again, that just to me tells me that when the really smart companies that do this for a living and they create these algorithms based on matchups and percentages and everything else they use, they're not showing favorable scoring metrics versus the Saints today. So however that translates out into the game's performance today, because there's so many other variables that affect the score. But when I'm looking at players to put in my lineups based upon them having the highest ceilings, okay, what we talk about, I'm looking at that red number and I'm going, it's a little bit of a flag for me. So I'm not going to go through there. I can tell you this for sure, on all of my lineups and all of the sports and all the fantasy that I do, I never have reds listed on my page. It just doesn't work out that way. There's a lot of greens, there's a few neutrals, and then maybe you take a shot in a high upside guy that ends up being, sixth worst against
Sam Laporta.
Yeah, but how many times, for instance, let's take a yearly fantasy, right? Every week they have a projection of what the pros think they're going to get. and let's say it's like 11 for DJ Moore.
Right.
How many times a year does he smash that number that they
I get
project?
it.
You know what I'm saying? Like every week you have 4 players that are like, "Whoa, I scored 9 more points than they projected."
When they create these are just the baselines, okay? And what they're figuring is there's going to be, let's say, a 20% variance on either side. They miss by 20% low, they miss by 20% high. I bet you 60 to 70% of the numbers fall that way. Now, some of them will be way outside the box in either direction. Guy gets hurt, gets no points, or whatever the catch. He only gets 3 targets. He was supposed to get 9. And on the other side, you got a guy like Tyreek Hill that gets 10 for 240 and 2 touchdowns, and nobody saw that coming. The potential is there, but that's not how it's analyzed for the data at the moment.
So you're saying it's more like an educated guess, 30-70 split, that 70 times they're right about these things and 30 they're not?
I'm not even sure about that. I just know that when the algorithms that they've used to create these systems, and again, remember, these are systems created now through AI and all these other very, very, very powerful and highly intelligent algorithms that are created by smart people, smarter than we are.
Skynet.
And again, they're run through thousands and thousands and thousands of simulations to come up with these finite numbers. Now, again, it doesn't mean they're right because there's so many variables that go into what we do. But as a baseline, I think when I'm trying to create lineups or I'm looking at matchups, if they're telling me one specific thing, and again, they're saying that maybe Ross St. Brown is matchup proof, okay, overall because of who he is. And he's got that little red 4 number next to his name. Well, you find out why. Is it going to be because Amon St. Brown isn't good enough to beat the defender? Or is it because of matchup? Is it the way they play zone? Whatever the algorithms that create these numbers, that's what they're telling us. They're telling us he's going to have a hard time today. Now, he may get past that. He may fall short. Or he may be right in line with what they're trying to say.
Last week, the algorithms told me that Detroit had 82% chance of winning against Green Bay and ended up being wrong.
And it happens. It happens. But overall, I like to at least consider that as a baseline. When I'm trying to create a scenario, I may have 10 boxes I'm looking to check. Or maybe there are 10 total boxes to check. And maybe that's one of the boxes I like to use is, okay, what is DraftKings telling me? They're telling me it's plus matchup, it's minus matchup. And in today's instance for him, it's a minus matchup. That box doesn't get checked. So at the end of the day, if I only check 3 boxes on a player, as opposed to maybe 6 or 7 boxes, you'll never get 10, and you should never get 0.
Are you people taking notes? Just make sure you're taking notes. Get a pen out, a piece of paper, or your notes on your phone. Take notes.
This
Go
is
ahead.
good stuff.
I know. I'm paying attention.
Yeah, this is good stuff. You want to check those boxes. And again, if you get 6 or 7 boxes checked, that's probably a good play. Now,
I'll have to agree with that in definitely some ways.
So that being said, again, but now again, I'll throw another variable into you. Maybe they didn't figure, and you're just this one Tennessee game based on that game that we won't talk about, but you like today. Treylon Burks is a late addition. He's playing today. Now,
That's your boy.
It may not move the needle.
My favorite receiver.
Treylon Burks is not going to change the line. Okay, it's not going to go from 3 to 2 or 2 to 1, whatever. But what I'm saying is that now, whatever variables that they used in their algorithm
Are slightly off.
And again, when you shift, if I tell you a story, okay, if I give you 5 words in a sentence and there are 50 people in a line, you're going to get it right. But by the time you get to the 4th person, somebody adds a word.
Oh, telephone.
Changes
Yeah, I know.
it. And by the time you get to the end, nobody had that outcome predicted because it changed way back here. And it's no different when these things change. So it's just baseline. It's just another kind of like I used box to check off. You want to check as many as you can. A lot of those guys are red today. So perspective, betting line, 4.5, home team, Saints, good defense. Offensive matchups don't look particularly well on the Detroit side. I'm leaning Saints.
Lions team better in every position when
Okay.
you match them up and motivated from a bad loss last week.
Okay.
I'm taking them.
Fair enough. There you go. This is the fun.
You're lucky.
This is where it's at,
Oh
brother.
my God. They are just so friggin' proud
Out
of
of each other right now. The 2 of you.
Yeah, we just
Oh
laid
my
it.
We should have an end zone dance.
We just laid it.
They're gonna
I'll
get
dance.
rid. They're gonna get rid of me. You're gonna get rid of me, aren't you?
dance.
You're just gonna get. I'm just gonna be the monkey over here pushing the buttons, and then you guys can just go do your own show. And and make sure you buy your own shit.
Denver, Houston. Next game? Unless
Next
you have
game.
something on
Next
it.
game before I get replaced.
Denver, Houston. Russell Wilson's won like 11 games in a row, 14 games in a row.
This is
something
my
like
favorite
that.
game of the week right now.
The story has been Stroud, and the story has been Houston, and the coach, and everyone
Let's
how they're
ride.
playing, and these receivers, Tank Dell and Nico Collins, and everybody else.
By the way, Nico, huge today. Tank Dell, questionable, may not play.
Tank Dell is in officially.
He's in?
He's a go. Yeah.
He's going to limp.
He's a
Watch.
go.
He's limpy.
Houston's a -3. At home. Okay, that makes sense.
I'll get the other leg, Tank. I really will.
Let's talk about Denver and Russell Wilson as the third highest quarterback rating in the NFL this year.
Saddle up, Broncos Nation.
The key for Denver and the offensive line has been fantastic.
By the way,
playing
the
really,
Miami
really well.
Dolphins just scored another touchdown on them.
Imagine that. We're talking about Denver after they got put a 70 spot on them
Put
back
to
in
sleep.
week 5. Broncos left tackle, one of the best in the game, Garrett Bowles. Drafted 2018, has an 83 pass block rating as your left tackle. That's what you want. Russell's pretty comfortable, right? I mean, you can see how he's moving the ball. And I think Sean Payton has got him in a way now where I'm not saying it's the old Russell Wilson, whatever that means or is, but they're throwing the football. Courtland Sutton is a beast out there. Nobody talks about. He's a top 5 guy for me in the league, right? Courtland Sutton? No question. On the road, big game for them today. Now, on the flip side, Houston, man, they've been good. Stroud, it just looks, for a rookie quarterback, what he's doing.
So mature, right?
Man.
Like, so mature.
Second, third reads. Again,
Most impressive.
we're talking about their receiving core as being one of the best in the leagues. And coming into this year, who had Nico Collins? Who had Tank Dell on their roster? Who had any of these guys that were,
Nico, me. Tank, no.
Well, again, we knew who they were, but we did not expect to get them to where they are now. Nico's his biggest target, 50 catches this year so far for him. And I think almost 800 yards. They're good. Houston's good. This is another game where they're at home. Their playoff chances are slim and none to begin with in a tough AFC. They're not getting the division, certainly, but they need to win. And Denver's traveling 5 in a row. I talk about how things regress. They go back to the means. Mm-hmm. It's tough to win 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row in the NFL, no matter how good you are, no matter who you are, no matter what the matchups say. This is a situation where I would be less concerned about the numbers and look at more as a reality and say that, man, Denver on the road, they're playing well. Houston's a hungry team too. I'm laying the 3. I'm taking Houston at home in this matchup.
All right.
Yeah.
Laying the 3.
Are you? My question to you would be: are you picking Houston because you believe in Houston more, or are you picking Houston because you believe this is a due game for Denver? They're just due for a loss.
It's a little bit of both.
Is it?
I do like Houston. I think they're a good
They
football
are a good team, yeah.
They're going to get better. Denver's also a good football team right now. You can't win 5 in a row at any point in the NFL, no matter who you play, unless you're a good football team. Yeah, but again, it's to me, I'm going back to the due factor to a degree. The home team, variables, lots of things going on. Houston's hungry. They lose this, their season's over.
Okay.
So
well, let's go over some things here because I've been waiting to get to this game. Once you sent me this last night, I was like, I can't wait. I am not going to take full credit for this because I did doubt them after they were 1-5. But in the beginning of the season, when we started this, I told you guys that I thought Sean Payton would turn this team around and make them much better. And even though it took a while, it looks like he's done it. Right now, I got some things. They're both tied for the 7th seed at 6-5 right now. So both of these teams need it just as bad as the other. Schultz is out. Okay, we know that. They're tight end, little safety blanket.
9.
No reason to worry about Tank Dell. The report just came in that he put some Bill Gay on his leg, and he is perfectly fine. Going to be out there rolling around, man. Rolling.
Attaboy, Bill.
No, do not believe that at all. He's going to be limping on that field. And Denver's offense is 6th at home, but 24th on the road. So that is why I am not taking them, is because they are a Jekyll and Hyde team when it comes to playing at home and playing on the road. And when you're playing that bad on the road against a team like Houston with an offense like that, it just spells disaster for you. I don't believe they're going to slide 3-4 games in a row. This is just going to be one of those pockets where they lose. But I'm taking Houston for 2 reasons. I think they are slightly a better team. And I believe that Denver's road record and how they play is horrendous. It's not good at all. So I'm taking Houston based off of those facts.
And the Dolphins just scored on the Broncos again. What if you take away half of the 70 burger that the Dolphins hung on them on the road? Okay, for them, take away half. So it was only 35-20. Okay, it was more competitive.
So they played 1/2 of the game essentially
right?
instead of just taking half the
score. If you
score.
take away that average, I'm sure that their road average is going to be a little higher than 24th, is it, or 27th?
24th on the road.
24th. Yeah, it might get into the median.
It went down to somebody
18.
already did this actually.
Okay, good.
It went down to 18.
You got to do the comparative math
Yeah.
because it's a different animal. So, okay, cool. Me, Yeah, I'm laying the points with the Texans. That's a hot young team. They're on a roll. They got a lot of talent. I mean, that defense right now, D'Amico Ryans has got that team fired up.
You guys remember, you may not, but
Huh?
when you said earlier on Denver, when you mentioned them earlier in the season, how they were going to be hot, some of the earlier shows, and we were out there, maybe pre-show, and I said, you know who's going to win this year? Houston's going to win it all this year. Andrew was here, and you guys laughed at me. You guys were like, Houston, they got no shot.
Because you even said it as a joke. Don't say that like you called it.
No, but what I'm saying is that but the reason why I picked them, and I prefaced it, and I said they got a good offensive line. At the time, I liked Damian Pierce. I thought he was going to be an impact. I did like the quarterback draft. Again, I knew they were going to take some time to develop. But
We also called them a bottom 3 team like the whole first set.
You did shit on Houston.
We shit all over them the first show.
I think you're going to have to play the tape. So I'm sore. I got to put some Bill Gay on my neck right now.
Oh my God! Well, that's it.
49ers and the Eagles. This is a big game. If I can remember what the total was on my memory.
Let's
Man,
see. Yeah.
Bobby Mack, we need you. We really do. You would make a great tube of Bill Gay for us. It would be awesome because the late great Bobby Mack, graphics wizard. I gotta find a way to make a tube of Bill Gay. So go ahead.
Look what I done started, bro.
All right, probably the best game of the week, Niners-Eagles. Right?
Oh, come
We
on.
agree
Yeah,
on
what
this.
are we talking about?
It's another one where I got a home dog. The Eagles are
Actually, a
Make
home
sure
run.
you're wearing pads, some sort of protective gear, maybe a mouthpiece while you're watching this game. I mean, because really, honestly, the only games that could be more brutal would be like the Steelers and the Ravens. Okay, something like that.
Yeah.
This is that level. And I actually think that this is a level higher than Steelers Ravens. Okay, we're talking about slobber knocker. We're talking about two teams that, first of all, it's already heating up that they don't like each other. Do not like.
Well, again,
There's no love there. There's no appreciation.
These are the two alphas
in
in
that conference.
Exactly.
So there's only room for one, and they're
Big
going to
dog
prove
battle.
that today. What I like about this matchup, is Jalen Hurts like 12-0 over his last 12 home games or something? I say Jalen Hurts, but the Eagles. I think they've won their last 12 home games or something like that. There's some stat out there that's pretty good. Of course, Jalen
Listen,
Hurts
you
has been
gonna
the
hang
quarterback.
the loss on Jalen. You better hang all the wins on
Oh,
Jalen
no question.
too. So.
But again, they're not losing. So
Exactly.
they're a home dog. I know it's the Niners, and I know the Niners, when healthy, we talked about, obviously, McCaffrey, Ayuk, Debo, Kittle. Kittle had a huge week last week. 2 of the last 3 weeks, he's been over 10 catches, which is normally not Kittle-like, But
That's because Debo's hurt.
when they're all healthy, when they're all on the field together, Purdy is at his best. And he was my early MVP this year. He's still playing at somewhat of an MVP level. And the Eagles secondary, we saw what happened last week.
He's going to throw for 3 bills in this one.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now.
I mean, the Eagles are going to have to grit this one out. They've had a tough stretch on their schedule, right? I mean, the Cowboys.
It's going to be a shootout.
It's been a tough few weeks for them. They've come out ahead. Last week, we thought they'd come out flat. They did. First half laid an egg. Second half, they were the best team in the league, and they won that game.
Yeah.
So how much more is in that tank? At some point, I mean, like we talked about with Denver 5 in a row, it's tough to maintain that, regardless of the conditions, regardless of the teams you're playing or where or whatever. It's tough to continue to win week after week in the NFL. And
Yes, it is.
the Niners are the other alpha. So if the line makes sense, but it's the Eagles, man, and Jalen Hurts right now is leading the MVP race like we talked about for a reason. And I just like the Eagles in this spot at home. Getting points, again, give me points at home with a team like the Eagles. I don't care who they're playing. Even if something happens in the Niners, this is the greatest game we've ever seen, and it's 36-35, whatever in the end, and guess what? You're on the right side. You get the 2.5 points. So I'll take the Eagles currently as we speak at 2.5 points. Go Jalen Hurts. They got it right. They got the quarterback position right, and they're going to be in a good spot for the next probably 12 to 15 years. That kid's really good.
Get him, John.
I am absolutely going the opposite way here. I'm going San Francisco
You loser.
for multiple reasons. Okay, Fletcher Cox is out for Philly. Lane Johnson out for Philly. Go Dirt out for Philly. Philly has a bottom 10 defense on passing the last 5 games. The strength of the offense for San Francisco is the weakness for the defense in Philly. It is the middle of the field. Now remember, as Dolphin fans, we know that's what we attack well because it's a Shanahan thing, and Shanahan does coach for San Francisco, and he is the best at exposing that part of the field. Philly has like a bottom 3 defense at covering the middle of the field. You got Ayuk, Debo, McCaffrey, everybody's hurt, and then you look on the other side of the ball or whatever with Philly, they're not very healthy. I believe that this is a game. No one believes that this team is going 16-1, correct?
I agree.
So they're going to lose another game at least.
Yeah.
If they're going to, this would be the game that you would pick against. Another dominant football team when healthy. And like Nick Wright says, when all the Avengers are there, this team is unbeatable, man. It just is, and they're all there. So I am going to take San Francisco. I also find this to be a trap game for Vegas as well with this line, because as soon as you put Philly at home underdog, all the money's pouring into Philly's way. I'm telling you right now, San Francisco takes this game.
I can tell you right now
Oh, wait, and he's looking for it too.
what the percentages are in terms of the spread and who they took, because I've got that information here through CBS
It's gotta
Sports.
be 75 plus Philly.
I'll tell you
It's
right
gotta
now. It is 55% Philly, 45% San Fran.
Much closer than I originally thought.
50-50.
Now, this is just through CBS Sports pool. This is whatever they set the lines, and this line
Oh, this
came.
isn't like official Vegas. This
Well,
is
no,
just-
no. Well, this is CBS. This is how all their picks. I'm sure it's thousands and thousands.
I'm
or
sure
whatever.
it's about the same.
And it's
Close.
2.5 is what they have that spread at. It's locked in 2.5. So it was Philly plus 2.5. I think
It's 3
on
when
your
I
sheet.
betted it, yeah.
I'd rather have 3. Don't get me wrong.
That's why I hate to hit the
Yeah.
number.
But
Okay,
I'm at 2.5.
let me put a bow on it for you, okay, so we can get to the break. Or do you have something else after
No,
this?
no, we're good. We can go break.
Okay, so the final score is going to be 34-24. Okay, pick either way you can go with it. One team is going to bow up in the second half and get out to that 2-possession lead, and that's the way it's going to end. Okay, do I think it's going to be Philadelphia at home? Jalen Hurts has a career path trajectory that is just like his entire career is an I told you so. Okay, when he got to Alabama, supposedly the heir apparent, one little stumble, here comes Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right to the curb.
right to the curb.
He took it like a champ.
Like a champ.
Yeah.
He rode the pine that whole year.
Could have transferred. Could have left.
Tua was going bananas,
Yeah.
but he stayed because, you know why? Because he wanted another ring, and he got one. And then he was like, you know what? I'm not going to get a chance to start. Tua is the guy. Okay. And he runs out, and he goes and he finds the best college coach for quarterbacks who's been throwing it, who's been kicking out Heisman Trophy winners left and right, okay? And he went and he made his own way, okay? So what I see, and you know what, and the real irony is, okay, well, we'll get it out of the way early because I think that you're going to see Jalen Hurts versus Tua Tagovailoa a couple of times in the Super Bowl, a couple of times, okay? So you know what, we'll give Jalen this one, his path to greatness, and the man who stood in his way the most was Tua Tagovailoa. So I'll even give him that. The trajectory is going Super Bowl, Dolphins, Eagles win, okay, and Hurts beats Tua. Fine. I'm happy with that, actually. If the Dolphins make it to the Super Bowl, I'd be happier than a pig in shit, okay? But I just think that this is the year that you see the Jalen Hurts greatness is established, okay? He is a player of destiny. You see them. We always see them. We see players of destiny. We see them all the time. And he's got that funk on him. He's got that thing.
The story of
Okay.
this, too, what you mentioned about Hurts, is that he was
Overlooked even in the draft. Second
Yes,
round pick,
second round.
53rd overall.
I know.
Going against Mr. Irrelevant on the other side.
yeah.
It's a good story for the best.
Oh, you had a Heisman Trophy. Oh, that's real nice.
Yeah, for perhaps one of
Second
the
round.
best games of the year, you have two of the best quarterback
But he's
stories.
the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
Also,
So-
if San Francisco wins, doesn't this make the NFL and the NFC a little bit more interesting? Because if they win this game, who's catching them? Nobody. You can already give
Well,
them the
yeah,
title.
sure.
So now it gives it a little, oh, look how close San Fran
Yeah.
is. They have a shot, you know? Like,
Listen,
And listen,
I recognize that it can go the other way. I fully recognize that it can go the other way. San Fran can go in there and hang a 34 on them by the end of the third quarter. Okay, and then you get the Eagles having to come back and they'll get close, but they won't get that close. Okay, I mean, there's scenarios, but that 34-24 is solid. Somebody's offense is going to go off for 34 points. Maybe even throw in a defensive touchdown in there somewhere, a turnover, return, whatever. Okay, but it's going to be 34-24, lots of excitement. Somebody's going to bow up, and they're going to assert their will and dominance. Okay, and both these teams are capable of it, so that's what's going to happen. I just think it's going to be Jalen Hurts that's going to lead them. He's got the greatness. It's his year. Go fulfill your destiny.
If the Eagles win this game today, let me tell you about what
The last 5 games have been.
all right, because we got to take a break. Go.
Just real quick. First of all, Dolphins, that was back in October 22nd. Then it's been the Commanders, which they went on the road. Then they had to play the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Bills, now the Niners. Next week's the Cowboys. It's a brutal
It's
stretch.
a gauntlet.
It's a brutal
Yeah,
stretch.
it's a gauntlet,
Right.
dude.
So they're gonna go 15-2.
There's-
At least.
It's tough. If you're talking about letdown, it's to me,
It's this game.
I think it's next week at Dallas.
Okay then.
Because Dallas obviously is it's the last tough team on this stretch. The way we talked about Prescott and the team. I mean,
Philly
I
has
don't
their
know.
number,
It's a
dude.
great game today. It's a great game. Great
All right,
football
well,
today.
Tell the nice people we'll be back right after this.
We'll be back right after this.
Right up.
Gonzo Radio.
And we're back. Hey, that was really quick too. Hey, I like that. That was the quickest 2 minutes in sports. I'm telling you.
I like Chris Samuel's thing.
Yeah, we're starting to get into how things are going to go with
Can't
the
wait to
Dolphins
watch
and the
this Titans
Commanders.
game.
I keep telling everybody 41-19. We're going to hold them to a bunch of field goals, and we're going to score. We're going to bust Sam Howell's ass today.
Put
So.
my house mortgage on Will Levis.
There you go.
Yeah.
Blowing Will Levis
Yeah,
today.
that's
Good
right.
God.
That's what I'm
All right,
thinking.
let's get to the core four. I don't even have the graphic ready for it. Just let's get to the core four. Hit them with your four players you gotta have.
Yeah, we do this every week. We're pretty good at it. I'm just going to continue the streak. Let's go with.
I haven't won shit on DraftKings since we've been on break. So yeah, I got to have the core four.
I am doing it. I'm spending today for Tyreek Hill. He's the most expensive player on the board. He's averaging 26 points a week.
Cadillacing.
I don't necessarily love the price. It's barely 3x if he goes crazy, but it's a big number. And I'll take the big number because I think I can make it up in a few other spots. So I got Tyreek Hill today at 9,600. I got the guy on the other side who got 10 targets last week, Curtis Samuel. Okay. Now,
Kurt!
You guys are banging on my boy, Washington quarterback there, but Mr. Howell.
We got sick Kohu on his
Thurston
ass.
C. Howell. They're throwing it all over the field. I can't see a script where they're not going to have to continue to throw all over the field. If they're down 10, they're down 20, they're down 30, they're still throwing. I like Curtis Samuel in this spot. He's only $4,100 on DK. That's so cheap. We talked about the Denver game. We talked about how good that the protection has been for Russ, how good Cortland Sutton's been this year. I like him in that game because, again, I see another positive game script where there's some points in that game. Denver's going to have to throw the football. And, again, Sutton being the primary target, getting his opportunities, either scenario, whether it's their competitive or garbage time, I think Denver still throws, and I think Sutton's going to benefit from that. And he's like 5,700. It's pretty cheap. And then my last guy is on Tampa, which is Rashid White. This guy, as a running back, has been getting 6 and 7 targets
Love him.
a week as a running back. Give me a running back that's going to catch the ball 5 times, and I'll put him in my lineup every single time. And also, by the way, he also has been getting about 15 touches on the ground as well. So you're getting a guy with opportunity, 20-plus touches. Again, in a plus matchup today, I got Rachaad White. So those are my core four. I got Tyreek Hill. I saved some money with Curtis Samuel. Sutton's a mid-tier guy receiver. Rachaad White, I think he's like maybe the 6th or 7th highest priced running back this week. But those are my core four.
Actually, I like all of those, actually. And I know Hill's going to go off today because me and you both agree on him, and it just seems to be that way when we do this. So I'm going to take Tyreek Hill as well. He is very expensive, of course, but if you look at his fantasy points and like his game log, it's 20, 27, 31, 26, 25. He's up there almost every game, no matter how much you doubt he's not going to be there. I think the Patriots game is like the only game he hasn't scored a touchdown. I am going to go the other Hill, Taysom Hill, because I believe with all the injuries over at the Saints, they're going to use him in a lot of different ways. And like you said, when you're versatile like that and you can do a bunch of things, it really does help fantasy.
And he's tight end eligible, which
Yes.
means you're putting him in at the tight end position. He could throw a touchdown pass.
And when you listen,
I
I
mean,
actually
it's
looked through his game logs the other day. When you use him, he definitely gives you a reward for that. When the Saints use him the way they're supposed to, he has big games. It's when they only give him 2 carries and 1 target that he doesn't. When
In
they
this
use
game,
him,
he could be a 10, 12 touch
absolutely.
guy.
I'm going to take Tua to match up with Hill, and I'm going to go Thielen today. Only reason why is because he is the only weapon that they have over there. And I believe that they're going to have to utilize him tremendously today in order to keep that game that they're in even close. So those are my core 4 guys. And I think if you mix and match, I don't know if you're going to be able to afford all these players that we put because there's no real value guy in there. But if you can somehow, some way fit all those guys into your lineup, I don't see how you at least don't double, triple, or quadruple your money this week.
Well, some ambitious choices there, gentlemen.
Let me throw in a value guy for you because I got a cheap
value guy.
in there. Juwan Johnson. Again, we talked about the lack of
Yeah,
weapons.
he's had his
for
moments.
New Orleans.
Bro,
yeah.
I've been waiting for him all year. Since episode 1, I was bragging about him, and this guy hasn't done nothing.
Yeah,
like
3,400.
He's had a couple of good games.
$3,400 on DK. It's pretty cheap.
I would go with that.
Yeah, that's definitely
Yep.
a cheap play. So, well, let's see how we do at the end of today.
Okay, then.
I feel like we put a lot of good stuff out there.
That was good, man. Yeah, it was a great show.
Easy. Don't break your arm patting yourself on the back.
As long as we all
I got Bill Gates. All right, I'm in.
We got the Bill Gates. We'll rub something on it for you.
Got it.
All right, maybe that's what the picture on Facebook of you and Matt. That's what you guys got on you. That's baby oil. That's Bill
Let's
Gates.
not do that. Let's not.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Let's not do that one.
Let's not do that. All right, guys, that's going to wrap us up for this week. Good luck today. Actually, it's 12:15. I got to go get my lineups in, and I got to use those core 4. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, of course, the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk group. There's also a Gonzo Radio Sports Desk fan page. And, of course, you can see us here. Like and subscribe. It's right there, I think the like is, and then the subscribe is over here. Like and subscribe with us here, of course, on YouTube. And you go see John the Autobahn and Matthew Masaracchio. Dumbass. You can catch them also on Facebook. Come bug us. Ask us questions. Go to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk, the Guru's Guru, the Gonzo Radio, or the Screwy Louie Football League. We're here for you. We're here to help you. We're here to help you win in fantasy football, DFS, wagering, props, all of that stuff. We're here for you. Eventually, we'll get Andrew here outside of the holidays because he's working every Sunday now. Merry Christmas to you. And we'll catch you here next week, I believe at 11 o'clock on Sunday.
One of the days.
Yeah, Sunday, Saturday. Just pay attention, okay? And we'll help you out. All right. So on behalf of myself and Damaz and John the Autobahn and Andrew, who is now probably doing T-shirt inventory over at TJ Maxx.
He's putting the larges with the mediums and
Right.
and all that
You guys have a good day.